Everything around me, it has to be driving, either grocery shopping, either taking them to school. You're nervous, you're scared. You see a cop and we try to drive the best we can that way, to avoid any ticket.
Out in the public, that right there, a woman named Maria Rodriguez, an illegal immigrant from California. Last year, California passed a law that allows her and others like her to get driver's licenses legally. And it's happening in record numbers. And joining us now to talk about that a little bit more is Morgan Chalfant, reporter for the Washington Free Beacon. Morgan, great to see you again.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's take a look at this. You go into this in your new column, quote, illegal immigrants must pass a driving test and prove their residency and identity. Since that law took effect, 687,000 individuals have applied for the licenses, which are marked differently than those given to U.S. citizens in the state that so that individuals who use them cannot board airplanes or perform other tasks that require federal identification. But that number, 687,000, is huge. Do you think the law is being abused?
Yes, I think so. I mean, actually, the report from the California Department of Motor Vehicles showed that over 50% of the new licenses that were issued in the first half of 2015 went to these illegal immigrants. That means that roughly 400,000 of the new licenses issued were issued to illegal immigrants. While, as you mentioned, these licenses are marked differently, so illegal immigrants cannot board airplanes or do other things that require a federal identification, still raises questions about what these licenses actually open up, what kind of opportunities they open up for illegal immigrants.
Yeah, some folks like to hear them called undocumented immigrants, but you can't really use that in this particular case because they have state-issued documents. Meantime, the father of Catherine Steinle, who was killed earlier this month, allegedly by an illegal immigrant, is calling on Congress now to reform those laws. He says he supports legislation that would close legal loopholes that let local authorities decide whether or not they're going to follow federal laws. How do you see this Steinle case influencing the immigration debate in the GOP primaries and beyond?
Well, I think that Republican presidential candidates are very passionate about addressing this immigration issue, and I think the Steinle case points to the fact that we need to solve the problem. I mean, this was an illegal immigrant who allegedly shot and killed her, who had been deported multiple times, who was a criminal. This is something that we really need to address, and I think candidates ahead of the 2016 election will address it as best they can, and hopefully some legislation gets pushed that will enable Congress to really lock down on illegal immigration into the country.
Yeah, we'll see how it comes up in the debates. I have to imagine it does, because it really does kind of encapsulate the argument here, and it puts a face on a very troubling problem that even Democrats have to admit is a big issue. Now, you also have a new piece out about the Obama administration. This is a real shocker here, trying to block some seniors from owning guns. Let's take a look. Quote, the White House wants the Social Security Administration to weed out seniors, quote, marked with subnormal intelligence or mental illness, incompetency, etc., and then report those individuals to the National Instant Criminal Background Check system. We've already talked about Big Brother in the age of Obama, but what qualifications does the Social Security Administration have to determine who can own a gun and who shouldn't own a gun?
Well, the Social Security Administration certainly doesn't have a procedure in place to do what the Obama administration wanted to do at this point. But basically what it would involve would be the Social Security Administration weeding out these individuals that have been deems unable to manage their affairs. Now, the Department of Veterans Affairs actually has similar procedures in place in order to report veterans that can't manage their affairs like this to the background check system. So the Social Security Administration, in theory, could follow in the VA's footsteps and basically look through the individuals that are beneficiaries who have been appointed representative payees to manage their monthly benefits. Now, there are actually roughly 4.2 million individuals benefiting from Social Security that have these assigned representative payees. So this could potentially affect millions of seniors who may want a protection from a gun and would prevent them from actually obtaining firearms.
I don't know, Morgan. It seems a little fishy here and doesn't seem like something the federal bureaucracy could handle. Morgan Chalfant, thanks so much for being with us. You can find those two articles up right now on the Washington Free Beacon. Always great to have you with us here, Morgan.
Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Well, Donald Trump remains at the top of the GOP polls, as we mentioned. The media and his critics say he does not have a plan. Well, He does. If you've seen his new book, he wrote a new book that he says will make America great, just like his presidency. Trump's bestseller is called Time to Get Tough. It outlines his plan to roll back Obama's policies, secure the border, deal with China and terrorism, and much more. Newsmax has a free offer for this book. Just go to newsmax.com/TrumpBook and get your copy. I strongly urge you to go online and avoid what is being said in the media about Trump. Get it directly from the man himself. Also, while some leaders are calling to ban Muslims from entering the U.S., a Florida businessman is taking it upon himself and declaring his store a Muslim-free zone. We'll talk more about that coming up. Plus, the Boy Scouts of America may soon lift their ban on gays as scout leaders. What do some presidential candidates think of this proposal? Those stories and much more coming up when Newsmax Now continues right after this.